original seats are actually pretty cool. There's a little push clip here. I don't know if you can see that. It holds this hinge together, which allows the seat to pivot. Well, not very well anymore. But that's so you could climb in the back from here. So hopefully, all I have to do is take these little pins out from either side and hammer out the big pin that it pivots on. I don't know if they're going to come out, but we're going to try. Seems broken. Then we got an impact on and see what happens. Boom! Right out. Now to get these last bolts by this rust hole. If they don't come out, it's not a big deal. I'm going to be replacing a lot of this anyway. Yeah. There's not much left to those bolts. Maybe a smaller size. Wow, they came right out. Not much left to the heads of them though. Last try. Doesn't come out here, I'll just cut it out. She came out. Huh. Might try to save that cross member down there. That floor, I don't know if you can see it on camera. You can. This floor up here is actually not too bad. There's a couple little punky spots, but I'll probably only have to cut like here and around that and do a nice patch up in here. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll be better than what it is. Alright, so as you can see here, we got some floor damage from rust. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and probably do a straight line right along this raised section, cut this out, come all the way down here to this sill plate area, and cut all along this and try to save this sill. It's a little bit thin, but I have a plan to go underneath that. I just want to make sure that this door opening stays where it should. So I'm going to make a cut here, I'm going to go up, come over here, go around this cross member here, try to save these threads, because that's where my seat mounts to. So I'm going to have to make a patch that goes around this, and then I'll come around, probably do a diagonal over here, and go up underneath the dash. So today we're just going to cut that all out. Alright, so now you can see I cut all the rod holes out. That right there is the piece I took out. So I will be taking that inside and tracing around and making it square on a cardboard template. So I can go ahead and cut this out of my 18 gauge sheet of steel that I have in the house. And then make this patch. But before I weld any of this in, I'm going to weld up this seam here that I accidentally cut. This is one piece that's supposed to be part of the bottom part of this floor here. So I'll run a bead all along there. I'll weld up here. I'll probably run a bead of weld right here. I'll clean up a few areas on this cross member here so I can weld through the new patch into cross member. And then anything else in here that's not going to get welded to, I'm going to fill with Semirust trap. I'm just going to paint it on there, slather it on there. Even though it looks still pretty good, pretty thick, there's no holes, it's just surface rust, I'm still going to clean it up and make it look nice. Here. And I hold it up, slide it forward, and when it goes into place, it sits right up against this sidewall here of the rocker and right underneath this rail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark on this piece of square stock, not square stock, angle iron. I'm going to mark on this piece of angle iron where these little holes are, and then I'll come back and clean it up with the angle grinder. And then I'm just going to hold it against the inner panel here and plug weld where every hole is to make this rocker nice and rigid, so when I start cutting it doesn't go anywhere. I'll do that down here and all on these guys. I'm gonna do these side ones first. Do like a plug weld there, and then some down here. And then I'm gonna tap down the top so it fits correctly. But if you, I don't know if you can see here, but there's a bolt here and up here that's keeping the angle iron out this way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark it right here up front so I know where it is pretty much. Right there on this angle, and then I'll just go ahead and notch the angle iron right there so that bolt sets in it and it can set right up against the angle iron. Alright, so now that all my metal's prepped and everything, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to mask off the areas that I need to weld later on. Like this edge here, this edge, and this edge right here. And then I'm going to treat this whole intersection here with Sem Rust Trap. What Sem Rust Trap does is it binds to the surface rust that's already there. It etches into it, and it blocks off not only the moisture, but also the oxygen, which is what rust needs to create more rust. Alright, now that the rust trap has dried on this and the angle iron piece, I've gone ahead and put the angle iron in there, and I'm holding it down with vice grips. And you can see right here where I taped off the bare metal where all the plug welds will be on the angle iron. So I can go ahead and plug weld it all the way down. Get that structural rigidity back into the van. Alright, now that I put some ugly plug welds in there, they're ugly because welders don't really like rusty metal, but oh well. But now that I've welded that in there, you can see there's this little lip right here. That gives me a nice little shelf to put the patch on top of. So I'll grind the paint off right here, and then I'll weld between here and here, and then I'll make a whole new floor panel.